sports.
We are Sports. We are Florida.
LA native Christian Yelich fueled Miami's win yesterday with 4 hits and quick wheels. He was in and out of the box faster than you could say double-double. Some love for the gloves. Another fantastic day for D. Gordon and Adeiny Echeverria. Today, 23-year-old Jose Urena gets the ball, and the Marlins get ZACK GREINKE, and you get Marlins Dodgers. On a Sunday in Miami, the Dodgers and Marlins meet to decide this series. The Dodgers winners on Friday. The Marlins bounced back with a win yesterday afternoon. And on a hot, muggy Sunday, the roof is closed. Josh Beckett, a lot of his old teammates on Josh Beckett Day, getting ready, warming up to throw out the first pitch. Watch the little highlight video as well right now. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins got a Josh Beckett-like performance from Tom Kohler yesterday, and it paid off with a win over the Dodgers.
Yeah, they sure did, Rich. It was needed from Tom Kohler. We had a feeling he would step up big, and I thought the offense did the same thing. There was some timely hitting, some little things that were done correctly, and the Marlins took advantage of some sloppy play by the Dodgers.
And they gave Clayton Kershaw his 3rd consecutive loss. First time that had ever happened to Kershaw. So who do they get today? ZACK GREINKE. And it's Jose Urena going for the Marlins.
Well, you get a guy in GREINKE who's been consistent. All 15 starts, he's gone 6 or more innings. You'll also get another Cy Young Award winner. He won one in 2009. And against the Marlins in his career, GREINKE is 3-0. So ZACK GREINKE, another tough one. Got a great changeup. The Marlin hitters will have to deal with that today. Jose Urena, well, the Dodgers will have to deal with him. He's just 23. In his 5 starts in June, he's done a nice job. An ERA just a tad over 3. And 6 or more innings, 4 of his last 5 starts. So Jose Urena starting to put it together. Has had some good stuff.
We'll have Josh Beckett live during the game. We'll have that first pitch of his as well. And when we get back, final tune-up last night. All systems go for Jose Fernandez, and a return to the big leagues on Thursday at Marlins Park. Josh Beckett, who retired last year after throwing a no-hitter with the Dodgers. So just the fact that he is here with the Marlins and the Dodgers ready to go, that's a nice moment there with Pudge between home and the mound. Let's go out center field. Preston Wilson, Craig Minervini.
That's great to see. You know, in the pregame, of course, Juan Pierre wore the Miami Marlins uniform, so he joins them. It's good to see those guys. And the big news this week for the Marlins is going to be on their next heralded young right-handed pitcher, Jose Fernandez.
Well, this is a guy that is chomping at the bit to get back. He's done his rehab assignments. He can't wait to get back. Yesterday, his 5th and final rehab assignment in Jacksonville. He went 5 innings, 90 pitches, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, gave up 4 runs. But I think more than anything, the Marlins are happy that that guy is headed back to South Florida.
And because he's feeling healthy and feeling great, he said really he probably could have come back a few starts ago. They set out this program, though, as you look at his numbers on the 5 rehab starts, and they're building on that.
Yeah, and don't worry about the numbers too much, because that last start, he's just thinking about getting back here. He's thinking about getting out of that game healthy. I'm sure when you have that last, the focus isn't the same. So it's hard to fight human nature. It's hard to fight looking past that next start to get back to join your team, to join the team that just lost Giancarlo Stanton, so you can come back and make a difference.
33 strikeouts, 6 walks. Those are some nice numbers to see from a command standpoint. How about from an energy standpoint? Thursday, will he have to battle himself a little bit?
He's going to have to fight the emotions. He's going to have to slow it down, get his heart rate under control, and not pitch so much on that edge. He'll be okay, though. All
right, that's going to be exciting stuff on Thursday. But we got some exciting items for you today, namely one man named GREINKE and a young pitcher named Jose Urena, who has pitched very well for Miami. Good matchup. The series is at stake. Next on Fox Sports Florida.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Brought to you by Kaiser University. For more information, go to kaiseruniversity.edu. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at floridacoasteq.com. And by AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles. Visit AutoNation.com. Sunday in South Florida. Hot, sticky out. Nice and cool and comfortable inside Marlins Park with the roof closed, the rolling windows shut, the AC going, and the Marlins looking for a series win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ichiro, smile pretty, very nice. A lot of kids at the ballpark. Dodgers lineup, Howie Kendrick has been a tough out. Jam Lexus brings it to you. Jock Peterson in the leadoff spot. There's Kendrick. Had a good series in L.A. against the Marlins as well. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Yasiel Puig gets a start. He's hitting cleanup. Yasmani Grandal, the Miami Hurricane, is the catcher. Andre Ethier out in left field. Alberto Callaspo, the switch hitting third baseman. Jimmy Rollins is at shortstop. Zach Greinke hits ninth.
And there is the 23-year-old Jose Urena. He has, over his last few starts, really started to put things together. And when you see him pitching at his best, it's a good two-seam, sinking-type fastball, the changeup, a good changeup, and some sliders. So trying to pick up his second win and making his first ever appearance against the Dodgers. How about the defense? BMW brings you the defense. Yelich, Ozuna, and Ichiro in the outfield. Dietrich, Echeverria on the left side. D. Gordon continues just to press on and play extremely well. Justin Bour in the lineup. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. You know what, Rich? One of my favorite things on Sunday is to see the youngsters out there at each position with one of the Marlins players. It's a memory they'll always have. That's a great sight.
Jock Peterson was one of those youngsters just a few years ago. Leads it off for the Dodgers, ready to go. Jose Urena. First pitch, two-seamer for a strike, and it's brought to you by Pinch a Penny. Howie Kendrick, Adrian Gonzalez will follow. Urena getting start number 7. He's right out in front, 0-2. Just a terrific effort from Tom Koehler. Yesterday, Koehler outdueled Clayton Kershaw. Marlins gave Kershaw his 6th loss. Today they're up against Zach Greinke. Here's Kohler's numbers. So it's Urena who takes the baton and tries to keep it going. A 4-seamer, 2-seamer, and a pretty good changeup as well. Urena out of the Dominican Republic. This is his 7th year in the Marlins organization. And he got him. Nice changeup. See how that floated away? Peterson strikes out. A good start for the youngster, the rookie.
Well, he really does give hitters a different look when he uses all those pitches. There it is, moving away, and really you can see the swing, how much Peterson flew open that top half.
Howie Kendrick, 5 hits in the series. And the veteran second baseman takes a fastball up. Kendrick, a Florida native, Callahan, Florida. Went to junior college, St. John's River Community College. And a really nice long run with the Angels, who were the California Angels, then the Anaheim Angels, and then the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim during his tenure.
You know, when Kendrick was there, it didn't matter which Angel he was because he always hit.
1-1. Floats that one out into shallow center field, and it falls for a hit. Howie Kendrick cannot be contained. 6 hits in the series. He's aboard for Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, over 500 against the Marlins this year.
And that'll put a smile on your face when you get tied up like that, are able to dunk one in. Now you've got a guy that can really hurt you. Adrian Gonzalez, 3 hits in the series. He's driven in a run.
I think another thing, Rich, if you use it for motivation, that could be on the mind of Jose Urena. All the starters know that Jose Fernandez is coming back. He's coming back Thursday. He's going to pitch that afternoon game against the Giants. Somebody will have to leave the rotation. Who's it going to be?
Gonzalez swings and misses. It's nice symmetry that on Josh Beckett Day the Dodgers are here and that Gonzalez is in the lineup. He, along with Beckett, Carl Crawford, and Nick Punto. Remember the quartet that went from the Red Sox to the Dodgers?
I think we were there. We were in L.A. when those guys arrived.
Absolutely, and I'll never forget the scene. That such a buzz in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and a big limo pulls up, and out pops Adrian Gonzalez. Out pops Josh Beckett. Carl Crawford had just undergone surgery, and then Nick Punto pops out. Here's the 1-1. It's hard smash. Bour's got it out there. Relay to first. Terrific double play. And it all started by Justin Bour, who got the glove down, made a good throw to second. And Jose Urena is out of the first. Park, drum roll please, because it's time for the lineups. And of course, we feature Ichiro in this one. Jam Lexus brings you the lineups. D. Gordon at the top. Christian Yelich had 4 hits yesterday. Danny Echeverria is in the 3 spot again. Marcell Ozuna trying to snap out of a skid. Derek Dietrich slotted 5th. Justin Bour 6th. And there is Ichiro. He's had success against Zach Greinke. Jeff Mathis does the catching and hits 8th. Jose Urena, Miami's pitcher, will hit 9th. And there's a look at Greinke, 31-year-old. Orlando area. His first pitch, fastball, letter high for a strike. Todd Titchener calling balls and strikes. Tim Welke, Mike Everett, Tim Timmons. Inside out, D. Gordon flips one into left. That's a base hit. And Gordon is aboard. The Marlins are in business. I love the fact that the Japanese fans have the drums going during play, during pitches. That's a tradition, and you see it in games over in Japan.
Yeah, D. Gordon saying if Howie Kendrick can drop one in, I can do the same. A 10-game hitting streak for D. Hit number 112 on the season. He's closing in on the Marlins record for most hits the first half of the season. Juan Pierre in 2003. Juan Pierre's in the ballpark today. Had 117. Well, that was number 112 for D.
Now here is Yelich. And that was almost an out. The Marlins have to be extremely aware that they've had issues at first base. They've had 3 runners picked off at first, including D. Gordon in this series.
They have a pretty good combo. Greinke's quick over there, and you have the Gold Glover Adrian Gonzalez being a left-handed first baseman. He can get that tag down quickly too.
Gordon, a few extra steps. Those two, of course, teammates. Gordon played behind Greinke, so he knows. This is the 3rd year in Los Angeles for Greinke. Swing and a miss by Yelich.
And as a Dodger, Greinke 37-14 with an ERA at 2.47. So he has been spectacular. Had a great month of April, and then has really struggled for run support.
He's quick to the plate, has a devastating changeup.
In his last 9 starts, Zack Greinke's 0-2. So 7 no decisions. Yet he has an ERA of 1.79 over that time.
He's allowed 4 stolen bases this year. Twice a runner's been caught. So not a lot of guys are running against him. Coors Light cold hard fact. Tommy Hutton just documenting the tough luck. You pitch to a 1.79 ERA, you're supposed to get wins. But Greinke's not been able to get the support. Yelich takes out. Christian Yelich banged out 4 hits yesterday, had a stolen base, and maybe the biggest play for Yelich without a bat in his hand was going from first to third on the Echeverria hit in the first inning. It really set the tone for the Marlins and their 3-2 win. Gordon away from first. He's running. Yelich swings and misses. The throw, and he is out. D. Gordon tagged out. They count 2-2 to Yelich. And Yasmani Grandal catches Gordon.
Well, it's a good combination with Greinke's quickness to the plate and then Grandal with a really nice throw. And you see Jimmy Rollins getting the throw, getting the tag on D. Gordon a little bit in front of the bag.
Gordon, that's a veteran move there. Greinke spears it. If we could see that last replay again of Gordon approaching the bag. Jimmy Rollins is a veteran shortstop. Watch him.
And also a base stealer.
And a base stealer. Watch him step in front of the bag and seal the bag away from Gordon on the head-first slide.
Shortstops and second basemen are more apt to do that if they know a guy's going into that head-first slide. They're not apt to do it if he goes feet first. But Jimmy Rollins, being a base stealer and knowing D. Gordon, went ahead and made that move.
And you notice in that slide, Gordon was unable to reach with that left hand to get to the bag. Here's Echeverria. So the Marlins, a promising start to the first, now sits with nobody on and 2 outs. A nice play by Greinke to seal that ground ball from Yelich. Echeverria chopper to third. Callaspo across the diamond in time, and the inning is over. Zack Greinke, Jose Urena, Dodgers and Marlins underway.
vía ZACK por Kendall Toyota.
In Miami on a Sunday, Dodgers and Marlins in a scoreless ball game. Yasiel Puig, who makes his home in Miami, is on his way to the plates. Puig out for 5 games. A callus on his left hand had torn loose. He's in the starting lineup, hitting cleanup and in right field. He'll be followed by Yasmani Grandal and ETHIER in the second. One of the challenges for the Dodgers and for Puig this year has been keeping him healthy.
He's a guy, when he came on the scene, he's always played, I guess the best way to describe, he's played out of control. And at times that has cost him time on the disabled list.
Puig takes in. It's a Dodger ball club that the last 2 years under Don Mattingly, they have won the West. They won 94 games last year, 94 and 68. Of course, not a lot of people remember that because of the great run by their rivals, the Giants, who won the wild card and then went on to win the World Series. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Thank you, Rich. Jeff Mathis has caught Jose Urena a few times, spring training, some pens, but only one game, and that was on June 17th against the Yankees. And he told me he came away with a few things from that game. First of all, pitched a very good game, allowed only a couple of runs to the Yankees. But he said when I looked at veteran hitters like Brett Gardner and Brian McCann hitting his sinker into the ground, when he kept it down, it's very effective. When I see guys like that having trouble with it, that makes me know that that is a heck of a pitch and something I might rely on even more when I see him. He said in this game, just keep it down against a veteran Dodger lineup, and that should help Urena. But keep an eye on that sinking action that he has, and if he does well with that, he usually will have success.
All right, good stuff. Yasiel Puig's at first, and Urena throws the fastball by Yasmani Grandal. It's 0-2.
And that pretty much was by him, a late swing by Grandal.
Grandal got the start in yesterday's ball game. He was 1 for 3. Former Miami Hurricane. Born in Cuba, born in Havana. And Grandal has always had a great eye. High on base percentage. His major league career averages coming into this season, 225 hitter. While that's not that impressive, certainly, but his on base is 350. Two pitch coming. In the air, shallow left. Echeverria out, Yelich is in. It's Yelich who makes the catch. Marlins and Giants start their series on Tuesday. That's a half-price Tuesday. A 7:10 start. You get the half-price Lexus Legends Platinum tickets. Great discounts on tickets in several other categories. Just go to Marlins.com today. Giants and Marlins. San Francisco for 3. Pitching matchups have been announced. Matt Latos, Dan Herron, and Jose Fernandez will pitch for the Marlins in that series against the Giants. And that Thursday game, July 2nd, is a 12:10 start. That's the game that Fernandez will pitch, and that is to be televised right here on Fox Sports Florida. ETHIER at the plate. Puig away from first, and ETHIER fouls it back and out of play.
Well, one of the few times The Marlins in the ball game yesterday held ETHIER hitless. He's 0 for 4. It hasn't happened a whole lot.
Jose Urena making just his 7th big league start. Puig's at first. And a snap throw by Mathis. Puig is back.
Catchers love to do that with a left-handed batter because a lot of times as a runner you're kind of blocked from his view and you don't see what he can do. And Jeff Mathis with that quick throw makes it close.
Mathis as athletic a catcher as you're going to find. As a great high school quarterback. Puig bluffs, swing and a miss.
Catchers also like to pull off that move on an over-aggressive runner, which Puig is.
Mathis was going to Florida State to play quarterback before the Angels drafted him and signed him. One and two. And Urena misses away. Marlins winners yesterday 3-2. They beat Clayton Kershaw, first time in Kershaw's career that he's lost 3 consecutive starts. Tom Kohler was outstanding. It was Brett Anderson for the Dodgers who dominated on Friday night. The Dodgers beat Miami 7-1. And now Jose Urena has the count full at 3-2, and the likelihood that Puig is on the move is pretty good.
Yeah, you would think 3-2-1 out he'd be going. Urena just tried that changeup and missed with it off the plate.
Puig's not running. It's fouled back to the screen. Don Mattingly giving the signs out to Lorenzo Bundy, the third base coach. ETHIER a couple times has kind of shot a look down at first. Always a little more difficult for a left-handed hitter to figure out what his runners got going at first base. Puig is running. ETHIER swings and lifts it foul and out of play.
Saw that shot at Davey Lopes, who coaches over at first base for the Dodgers. It's kind of interesting. He was so instrumental in getting that Phillies ball club with the great running ability. But the Dodgers don't have a lot of base stealers. A lot of guys who run. They actually have 14 steals on the year. That's it.
That's just un-Dodger-like. I mean, go back into the 60s and the 70s, and even the 80s.
Maury Wills had that in a week. Davey Lopes had 14 steals in a week. Of course, D. Gordon has 26 on his own.
3-2 again. Runner goes, pitches low, and ETHIER walks. And so Urena.
Right there. I put it in play. He's just putting it right there, getting the side. I'll watch it.
Don Mattingly and Todd Tichenor jawing at each other. That was a pretty intense conversation. And I think the conversation centers on Urena and his move to the plate from the stretch,
which is quick.
Here's Callaspo.
But I also think Tichenor let Don Mattingly know right away who's boss.
Well, it's such a fascinating thing. Replay last year, by all accounts, successful, getting a lot of calls right, diffusing a lot of the manager-umpire arguments. Yet there were more ejections last year. And you talk to umpires and they'll say because of that, managers, players, they want to let off steam. There's that, that constant feel, and it all of a sudden has centered around the plate. That's where most of the ejections happened last year. It was over balls and strikes, check swings, stuff that happened around the plate because everything on the bases with replay has essentially been diffused.
That's such a good point, Rich, because you and I have nowhere to go to let off steam.
Right. You know, every now and then the crack staff will get into it with them, but. Oh, 0-2. Callaspo taps it foul. And it stays at 0-2.
So far, Ureña's made some really good pitches to Callaspo, who's just trying to stay alive, and he's fouled off numerous two-seamers.
And he got him. Callaspo strikes out. Second strikeout for Ureña. Now he's got to get Rollins to get out of this inning.
I guarantee for Alberto Callaspo that was not a comfortable at bat.
Probably a lot more comfortable than his at bat against Carter Capps yesterday. Capps struck out 2 and was just dominant again. Callaspo and Jock Peterson were his 2 victims yesterday. Here's Rollins. Broken bat, flips it foul.
Yeah, you can tell right now that Ureña has that buzzsaw sinker working by the way the hitters are approaching. Just that swing there off the end of the bat to break it.
A lot of Ichiro shirts, Japanese Heritage Day. There's a variety of groups. There's one of them. They've got the Ichiro shirts, the Marlins shirts going. Ichiro in right field, getting the start second day after the injury to Giancarlo Stanton. Rollins can't check on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
You wonder, especially with Jeff Mathis talking to Craig about how that sinker works the ground balls, if because he has such a good one, if he'll stay with that 0-2 to Jimmy Rollins, or if he'll go to one of his other pitches, maybe the changeup. I doubt the slider. Yeah, stay with it. It's working. It's moving.
Counts 1-2. Rollins to the left. Yelich is there. And Jose Ureña works around the 2 walks. Bottom of the second coming up. Scoreless, Dodgers and Marlins.
Well, that's good. We need to get some of those up here, some of those drums. We haven't had a chance to look at the defense, the BMW Dodger defense, with ETHIER, Peterson, and Puig in the outfield. Callaspo, Rollins, Kendrick, Gonzalez around the infield, and GRANDAL behind the plate.
And Ozuna lining one to right. Puig is there. He makes the catch. But that's a good sign. Just contact for Ozuna has to feel good. He had struck out in his last 6 at-bats. He was 0 for 15 with 9 strikeouts before that line drive.
Even the 0 for there to make him 0 for 16 has to feel a little better because he stayed back and he hit that ball well. But you're right, the strikeouts have really come quickly to Ozuna.
Derek Dietrich, Justin BOUR. Both lefties and righties have to deal with ZACK GREINKE's changeup. It's not one of those pitches where he just uses it against lefties. He misses. It counts 1-0. Dietrich in his first start of the series.
He's got late life on that fastball. He will pitch inside. And we've talked about the changeup, but he'll mix in a slider and a curveball as well.
Ball and a strike. One of the things to me that's most curious about GREINKE, all the great things he's accomplished, he seems like a larger than life pitcher. He's only 6 feet tall. He's listed at 6 feet tall.
He's got a lot of strength in that lower half. And anytime you talk about a pitcher who's been consistent, had the career he's had, he's won 128 games. You get a lot of that drive. We'll see that Thursday from Jose Fernandez. We saw it when he was pitching before.
Change up. Dietrich taps it first base side. GREINKE a Gold Glover among the many awards that he has won. He gets the out at first.
That's a good point. The thing about GREINKE and Kershaw, they're complete pitchers. Both swing the bat all right. They both field their positions. And GREINKE with a nifty play there.
I don't know where to start with GREINKE as far as his award. I guess you start with the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
Gold Glove. Couple All-Stars. And a Silver Slugger. He won the Silver Slugger a couple years ago as a Dodger. Here's Justin BOUR.
How about the fact that he comes into this game leading the major leagues with a 1.70 ERA?
So the Marlins in consecutive games will have faced the strikeout leader in the big leagues and the ERA leader in the big leagues. Woo! Boy, that pitch was way out. And remember, Justin BOUR a few nights ago had an at-bat where there were 2 pitches that were called strikes that were that far out.
Going right back there again.
Yeah, GRANDAL and GREINKE, they're no fools. They know if they get a call there, they'll try to expand it even more.
We're going to have a guy in the booth next inning that I'm sure did that a few times too, Josh Beckett.
Josh Beckett will join us in the 3rd. GREINKE with a slow breaking ball, and it just misses.
That's a Henderson Alvarez type curveball.
And down goes BOUR. GREINKE strikes him out. Marlins down in order. Scoreless. rewind. One of the great moments in Marlin history. Josh Beckett, Yankee Stadium, complete game, and a World Series championship. And today here at Marlins Park, it is Josh Beckett Day, and he joins us now. That moment right there, we see it almost on a weekly basis for Marlin fans. What was that like for you?
Oh, I mean, it was pretty surreal at the moment. You know, kind of leading up to it, I think just being down 3-1 to the Cubs and then going back. I mean, you remember it.
Oh yeah.
There's no way. There's not very many people that believe that we were going to come out of Chicago and go to the World Series.
Well, think about that play too. That wasn't an easy play to pick it and tag Posada all in one motion.
Well, but I would have looked like a cow on ice if I'd tried to throw it first. So that wasn't going to work. It was either tag him or he was safe.
Always, people have talked about it with Jack selecting you to pitch that Game 6. At what point did he tell you that you were going to be the Game 6 pitcher?
Well, I think he wanted me to pitch it. And it wasn't saying anything bad about anybody else. It was just a situation where, Jack's a big ride the hot hand. I mean, he's proven that in his whole career. And I was pitching good. So they basically, sorry, that messed me up a little bit, my train of thought. So he pretty much all the days was planning on it, but he wanted to wait till I played catch on that day 3 to make sure that I felt normal or whatever. I think I threw a lot of pitches in my previous start, because we had the rain delay as well. I think I went 8 innings or something like that. We got beat. You've seen it. I think he threw a shutout against us or something. I can't remember exactly what the score was.
Well, it was interesting, really, the way Jack used the pitchers. I mean, he used Pavano out of the bullpen. He used you out of the bullpen in against the Cubs.
Our bullpen days weren't bullpen days.
Right.
Our bullpen days were we're in the bullpen during the game, and he utilized us. I mean, you think about what Brad Penny did. I think he pitched like 5 innings in relief one time. I pitched 4 innings in relief. Pavano was like, a 2-inning guy, and then a 4-inning guy, and then a 1-inning guy. He might pitch the 8th one day, and so it was a little different. I mean, you certainly don't see. Ball was well struck.
Ozuna at the track makes the catch. You would have loved pitching in this ballpark.
Well, it certainly looks like you could get away with what I had as far as the high heaters.
Have you been here before?
Yes, yeah. I actually pitched for the Red Sox here.
That's right.
Then I pitched for the Dodgers here one time as well.
You picked. How many pitchers retire the year after throwing a no-hitter? That's really unique for you.
There's probably not a lot of them, but not a lot of them were as beat up as I was at the end last year. It was a struggle on a day-to-day basis for me, and I just made the decision that I couldn't do it, and I was looking at another 7-month rehab for the surgery that was possibly going to fix me, and then if it didn't work, I was going to have another surgery. I get 2 young children, two daughters, and I wanted to focus on that.
Where are you making your home now? Back in Texas?
Bernie, Texas. Yeah.
Bouncer in the hole and into left field. Howie Kendrick with a base hit.
How about that? Kendrick, another hit.
Oh, he's always been able to hit, can't he?
Our Toyota Trends postseason career, and of course a world champion with the Marlins, a world champion with the Boston Red Sox.
The first one, Josh, is always special, the one with the Marlins. But obviously you got that opportunity with the Red Sox too.
I did a couple years after going over there, 07. And me and Mikey got to kind of do that one together as well. But yeah, I look back just at how young we were in 03 and what we overcame. Not that we overcame any life-threatening deals, but I try to put things in perspective for myself. But we did fight through some tough things as far as the baseball season goes. In 07, I mean, we were in first place all year. And
more of a veteran club too.
Yeah. We were just all young. We all came up through the minor leagues here together. It was kind of a young, dumb approach, I guess, is what you'd say. And I think that's why nobody here was really surprised that we did it, because I can't remember who it was, but somebody said we might just be stupid enough to win this thing.
Might have been Jack.
Somebody said we might just be stupid enough to win the whole thing.
Well, and you you're looking at a Dodger team that you were a part of for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And they are young in spots. Jock Peterson certainly has had an impact with them. Adrian Gonzalez, we were talking before, the Marlins were at Dodger Stadium the day that you and Adrian Gonzalez and Nick Punto arrived in that big limousine after the trade from Boston. And for the Dodgers, they've had a nice run the last 2 years. Both years postseason years, both years winners of the National League West.
Yeah, and you know, that's a... Well, I guess we're going to break.
Well, stick around.
Okay, I'll stick around for a little bit.
We got you another half inning.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Pitcher's duel. This guy should like that. Game. Pudge Rodriguez. Some of your teammates were here. Pudge, that's a nice moment. Ichiro's up. First pitch fastball from Zack Greinke misses way. All right, let's turn Josh Beckett into television analyst. You were a teammate of Zack Greinke's. What makes him so special?
Well, he understands. I had an interview last year during the playoffs, and somebody asked me a very similar question, and I said he's the most prepared pitcher I ever played with. And what that means is, I mean, he literally does his homework. And he's a hard worker in the weight room as well too. But he watches video on guys, and he understands the percentages that, you know, and maybe it's just he's smarter than me, but he understands the percentages of he's going to play the percentages. Okay, a guy's a really weak on slider. Even if that means that your slider's not a good weapon for you that day, he still goes to that because he weighs those. I don't know how he does it, but he does a very good job. And I said that last year in the playoffs. He's the most prepared pitcher I've ever played with.
So he's prepared, he's talented, and then he's able to execute.
He's able to execute it as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. He is very good at it.
Ichiro swings and misses.
You know, seeing some of your former teammates out there, seeing Alex Gonzalez, how great was it to pitch and have that infield behind you?
Yeah, that was, you know, people asked me about that 03 team and everything like that, and, you know, about the power arms that we had and all that deal. And you know, you think about it, though, we literally could let the guys hit the ball pretty much anywhere, and we either had an outfielder that would run it down. I mean, you think about that infield. Derek Lee probably won 4 or 5 Gold Gloves. Probably should have had 10. Luis Castillo won at least 2, and he probably should have had more.
Alex should have won one.
Yeah, Alex Gonzalez never won a Gold Glove. I mean, if you'd have told me that 10 years ago that he wasn't going to win one, I'd have been like, you're full of it. Mike Lowell won a couple. Also, Mike Lowell has the highest fielding percentage, I think, of any third baseman in the history of baseball.
Marlins fans have seen that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous, and I got to deal with that when I really didn't. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was wild out of the strike zone, but a lot of us were wild in the strike zone.
And it was a wild staff, too. I mean, look, you had A.J. Burnett, yourself.
Yeah,
Dontrell Willis arrived on the scene.
Yeah.
You know, the guy people forget about a lot because he was totally opposite of all you guys was Mark Redmond.
Yeah.
You know, soft tosser, but he got guys out.
He did. He knew how to do it. Man, I remember lots of times I was sitting in the dugout and he would throw like an 83-mile-an-hour like quick pitch heater and he'd blow it like right by the guy, and we were like, how does he do that? And he understood, kind of like GREINKE does, differently than the rest of us, that there's a way to. It's just about really upsetting the timing, and Mark definitely got that.
Josh, will you get back into the game at some point? I know you're enjoying the ranch in Texas and your young family. Will you get back into the game in some capacity?
Yeah, and my wife and I have been talking about this recently. I'm certainly not bored by any means, and that's something that everybody kind of warns you about when you go into retirement at 35 years old. Well, there's only so much golf you can play, and I have a lot of other things going on too. I have a 7,000-acre ranch, and there's things to do. It's not like I'm just sitting at home.
You're hands-on too.
Yeah, and I'm not just sitting at home, so I'm definitely not bored. But I'd like to do some TV stuff. I don't know about sitting in the booth. I don't think I could. I don't think I could do Tommy. I don't think I could do Tommy's job.
You're a natural. You did a nice job. Hey, thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for the visit and continued success. And thanks for the memories.
Thank you.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. It is a Sunday, so it's a family fun photo Sunday. It's presented by H.H. Gray. Post your best family photo while watching Marlins baseball. Use the hashtag SundayFunDayMarlins, and we'll show the best picture on Marlins Live postgame. It's a good crowd on a Sunday. We've got nice look. Put the glove up. Put the glove up. Come on, Mom. I think that's what the youngster's feeling. Japanese Heritage Day at the ballpark. Yasiel Puig in the box. Yasmani Grandal, Andre Ethier to follow. Puig walked back in the second. That's the biggest stressful inning so far for Urania. He walked to that inning.
And also kind of took the pitch count up a little bit.
Puig takes away. As Tommy noted, this is not a Dodger team that runs a lot, but it is a Dodger team that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and it's been fueled in some part by the unseasonably warm weather. Don Mattingly told us when we were in Los Angeles that he'd never seen the ball jump the way it was jumping at Dodger Stadium, and he said that the same goes for San Diego, San Francisco. We heard the same about Oakland and Seattle.
I think we had a graphic. We were able to do a little research, and most of those ballparks were up in home runs.
Another walk. Urena, for whatever reason, having trouble throwing strikes to Yasiel Puig. So Puig is on. And here is Grandal.
Yeah, last time out for Urena, 5 innings against the Cardinals. That was that well-pitched game by Carlos Martinez. Well, it's nice after a walk to get a 1-pitch out.
Yelich makes the catch. And there's the out.
That's a good feeling for any pitcher after issuing the walk, and then you get that real quick 1-pitch out.
Now Ethier, remember the last Ethier at bat, it went to a full count before he walked. There were a couple of pitches in which it looked like Ethier thought Puig was running, only to find out he wasn't. See if the Dodgers start Puig at all in this at bat. Ethier now 33, his 10th year as a Dodger.
But he has always, we've talked about how he's hit the Marlins, but he has been a guy over his long career. His lifetime average is about 285, the mid 280s. Yet in his career, his lifetime average against right-handers is over 300. So he's always been a guy who's struggled at times against lefties, but against righties has always hit them well.
One and two. Puig's got that sliding glove on his left hand. Count stays at 1-2.
You know, you think about it with Jose Urena just a couple of years ago. He was pitching up the road in Jupiter in A-ball, and he was 10-7, did the ball well. He progressed last year to Double-A, won 13 games there, and was off to a really nice start this year in Triple-A.
While we have a chance, Tommy, we wanted to give our best wishes to the family of Deputy Thomas O'Keefe and to Thomas himself. Thomas is from the Broward Sheriff Office, and he was hoping to bring his 8-month-old daughter to the ball game today. He's suffering some major medical issues, and we hope that he's doing well and hanging in there. Big Marlins fan. That one fouled into the seats. So, Thomas, hopefully see you at the ballpark soon.
Absolutely.
Count 1 and 2 to ETHIER. And ETHIER goes down swinging. Jose Urena gets a big strikeout. There's 2 outs in the 4th. Tuesday, remember, 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup semifinals begin. Alex Morgan, Team USA, take on Germany. It's a trip to the finals on the line. Coverage begins Tuesday at 6 Eastern on your local Fox station. Catch the whole tournament streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Alberto Callaspo. Yasiel Puig at first, and Urena tosses over. Chases Puig back. Also, our condolences to the family of former Major League umpire Richie Garcia. Lloyd Garcia, father-in-law, passed away. Fastball misses away. The grandfather of Vic Carapazza, of course. Vic Carapazza and Richie Garcia, great umpiring family line there.
Yeah, Richie, solid, terrific Major League umpire. Now works for the Major League office for the umpires.
So our prayers are with the Garcia family. Callaspo struck out back in the 2nd.
If you're Dan Jennings, though, you look at the total number of pitches, and it gets to a point where the Dodgers are giving Urena good battles every at bat.
Soft to left. Yelich makes the catch. Well, it's taken some pitches, but Jose Urena's thrown 4 shutout innings at the Dodgers. Checkers, mix and match our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get the 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, which reminds you, drive sober or get pulled over. In Miami, Zack Greinke, Jose Urena, both throwing shutouts at this point. And Greinke dials up a changeup, misses outside to D. Gordon.
Well, it's a type of game, you know, you just get the feeling, certainly the way both pitchers are pitching, that he'll do anything to scratch out a run.
That's kind of what the post-Giancarlo era, at least for a month before he's back, is going to be like, you suspect. The Marlins, like yesterday, have to be aggressive on the bases, creative with their offense.
Well, let me give you a number that reflects that. Giancarlo, of his 27 home runs, 13 were hit here at Marlins Park. The rest of everybody else hit 13 home runs. Martin Prado the most at home with 3. So everybody else hit 13 at home. Giancarlo hit 13 at home. So you're right. You're going to have to find other ways and hopefully get that guy back soon.
The Marlins are hoping that baseball activities and all that start soon for Martin Prado. 3-1. D. Gordon takes a strike. D. Gordon singled in the first, adding to his major league leading total, 112 hits. .357 average. Gordon fights off that fastball in the outside part. Gordon was caught stealing back in the first.
Both sides have battled the pitcher. The Dodger at bats against Urania, been a lot of foul balls. The same thing that the Marlins have battled Greinke.
Greinke, who's pitched so well without decisions for so long, leads the majors in ERA. Greinke off the mound.
Boy, did you see how quickly he got off the mound? I mean, you talk about outfielders and infielders getting jumps. He got a jump off the mound.
Yeah, he did. Right off the hill and onto it.
Wow.
Well, he knows all about D. Gordon.
He knows you have to get to it and get rid of it in a hurry.
There's Christian Yelich now. Yelich 4 for 8 in the series. Those 4 hits coming yesterday. 3 of those against Clayton Kershaw. That pitch is out. But called a strike. One and two. Count evens at 2 and 2. T-Mobile game changer. Yelich yesterday, second lefty to get 3 hits in a game against Clayton Kershaw. Matt Carpenter did it last year. And of course, Yelich's other hit was against the lefty, J.P. Howell, out of the Dodger bullpen.
A couple of the hits up the middle, and because of that, Jimmy Rollins, as far as any shortstop I've seen, is shading Christian Yelich up the middle to take away that.
And Yelich walks. First one issued by GREINKE. And he doesn't walk many. That's just his 20th all season, and this is start number 16.
Now, one of the pitching stats in this new age that I like is the whip. Walks and hits to innings pitched. And if it's fewer than the innings pitched, you're really good. And Greinke's is. So you're right. He didn't walk too many. Doesn't walk too many. Doesn't give up many hits.
Marlins have had 2 base runners in the ball game. And Chavarria fouls it back. And it's 0-1. With all the shifting in the absence of Giancarlo Stanton, Eddie Echeverria finds himself probably making the biggest move in the lineup. Echeverria has hit 8th or 7th most of the year.
A couple of times we saw him in the number 2 spot.
He hit 3rd yesterday, and he's hitting 3rd again today. I guess the challenge for Echeverria is not to get too big with the swing and stay with the approach that had him at or a little bit above 300 for most of the season.
Yeah, that's, you know, it sounds easy. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're hitting second, you're hitting third, you're hitting eighth. Keep the same swing, but sometimes it isn't all that easy. And remember, when he hit third the other day, it was the first time ever in his career that he batted third.
Two and two.
Greinke, seeing that swing maybe a little big, is trying to go up and get Echeverria to chase his fastball.
Yelich stole the bag yesterday. He's 6 of 7 on the year. Strike 3 call. Echeverria shakes his head as he walks away.
It took a while. It was a little bit of a delayed call. Let's see where this pitch is. Probably going to be high enough.
Head's at the knees. Remember, it's front of the plate. Front of the plate is where it's called. Front of the plate is where Fox Tracks captures it. Doesn't make it any easier for Echeverria. Now Ozuna, and he blasts one into right field. A base hit. Yelich will stop there. Now hold. Yelich starting and then stopping. He's got Puig in right, and he got a pretty good jump on the ball. And for Ozuna, he's seen 2 pitches. He's hit them both hard and both to right field.
Well, you hope this is a good sign and that Marcell Ozuna can take off. It breaks an 0 for 16, but you're right. 2 well-hit balls into right field.
Now Dietrich, who bounced back to the mound in the second. Dietrich rolls it up the middle. Kendrick has it on to first in time, and Miami is done. They do leave a couple. This game 4 innings along, scoreless. Our friend Joseph Gormley presenting Josh Beckett with a painting commemorating that final out 2003 World Series. Good to see Joseph Gormley back at the ballpark. Very talented artist. and friend of the show, and certainly friend of the fantasy auction. Jose Urena is matched up with Zack Greinke, and so far neither has blinked. Urena has walked 3, and here in the 5th he gets Jimmy Rollins, Greinke, and Jock Peterson. Dodgers, Marlins scoreless, a game apiece in this 3-game series.
We haven't seen, and it all goes back to Craig's report on his conversation with Jeff Mathis about handling Urena and seeing how the Yankee hitters reacted.
Diving stop, Gordon on his knees, won't get him. Rollins beats it out.
Boy, so many others D. Gordon is able to get and make it out, but Jimmy Rollins still gets up the line at 36 years old. Gets up that line well. What an effort by D. Little trouble getting it out. That might have cost him, but just a great effort. But back to what I was saying, you can see how Urena has stayed in part because Mathis has stayed with him on that 2-seamer and a lot of sinkers.
Infield hit for Rollins. We'll see if Greinke is able to bunt him up. A balk is called. A balk on Urena.
Well, remember earlier in the game when Tishner, the home plate umpire, and Mattingly were going back and forth, and you and I kind of thought it was about his quickness to the plate.
No stop.
And you heard the home plate umpire Todd Tishner just tell the Marlins dugout, no stop.
No stop. He's done that a couple of times. He probably has gotten away with it. It's quick. There are a lot of times that's not called, but you can see why they did.
You wonder if an umpire gave him some sort of a warning or told Miami's bench, hey, you need to get him to stop. Now Greinke will try to bunt Rollins to third.
Yeah, it really changes the complexion.
Urena gets the out. Well, the youngster dropped it the first time, and now he's going to have to pitch around this spot, the top of the order. Jock Peterson and Howie Kendrick. Rollins at third and 1 out.
Yeah, it really does change the complexion. Now the infield, I would guess, might come in, maybe not, but it changes a lot because it's different if there's a runner at second and 1 out as opposed to over at third base.
Peterson has struck out and hit a mammoth fly ball to center that was caught on the warning track by Marcell Ozuna.
I think he's thinking if he were playing in LA, he'd have 22 home runs by now.
That's right. There are 2 other balls he hit earlier in this series. One off the top of the wall in center, one to deep left. There's a 1-0.
I asked Don Mattingly about Peterson, and he said, yeah, you know, he's one of those new wave players. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of power, a lot of walks. Peterson has struck out 90 times this season.
And most teams are a week away from the halfway point on the season. Chuck Hernandez watching Urena here. He's got 3-0 on Peterson. They lost him. It looked like he was disinterested in throwing a strike there, I guess is a way to put it.
Well, it's tough because you have a guy who's 2 for 2 against him coming up in Kendrick.
It does set up the possibility of a double play and a chance to get out of the inning, but heck, Kendrick has 7 hits in the 3-game series.
Kendrick this year against the Marlins is 13 for 24.
Outside corner. Look at that, 69%. Well above the major league average. Rollins at third, Peterson at first. And Urena comes right out and gets 2 strikes against Kendrick.
Changing the game plan a little bit against Kendrick. Good slider that last bit.
Great location. Oh, 2. And it's out.
Tried to overthrow that slider.
Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Both teams kind of waiting for the first big hit of the game. Kendrick, bouncer, Gordon has it, etches, turn, wide, safe. Bourne held it, but was off the bag. Rollins scores. The Marlins will probably look at it replay-wise. And the hope is that somehow Bour kept his foot on the bag. Here's a look.
The flip looked like a good one. It was. Echeverria had a lot of time. And no, he was not on the bag when he caught the ball.
You saw that last attempt to get a toe on it.
Just didn't quite get the arm angle up where he wanted. He wasn't upset by the runner, and he got a good flip from D. Gordon. Great effort by Justin Bour to try to hang on.
Adrian Gonzalez now. So a big moment in the middle of this ball game. It's 1-0 Los Angeles.
Boy, and really, Urena made the pitch. He made the pitch he wanted. He got that double play ground ball.
And of course, the balk is prominent in the inning. The balk that sent Rollins to second. 2-0 pitch, line into center field. That's a base hit. Kendrick around second will stop there. The Dodgers runners at first and second. And now Yasiel Puig, a guy that Urena has pitched cautiously to. In fact, he's almost pitched around him. He's walked him twice.
Well, you'd like to see for Urena, and keep in mind he's still just 23, you'd like to see certainly better strikeouts to walks ratio. And now on the year, 19 strikeouts, but 17 walks.
Two walks for Puig. Lines it to left. Yelich over there, and he makes the catch. And Urena gets out with just the 1 run. But it's a 1-0 Dodger lead. 5th in Miami. Geico gives you a little Marlins history. Marlins beat the Mets, first of 3 games at San Juan's Hiram Bithorn Stadium. Marlins in San Juan to take on the Mets. That was a fun time. That really was. You know, Hiram Bithorn Stadium isn't Marlins Park.
We had a nice cozy booth to broadcast those games from.
Great atmosphere during those games.
Oh, yeah.
Fans were into it. Had really good crowds. Justin Bour takes out, counts 1-1. Zack Greinke gets Bour, Ichiro, and Jeff Mathis.
It was a great atmosphere at the hotel around the pool, too.
Listen to you. 1-2. Edwin Rodriguez was named from interim manager to full-time manager during that series. Historic for a Puerto Rican manager. I think Giancarlo Stanton homered there, didn't he?
He's homered everywhere. I think when we went through the list of ballparks, he's homered it.
That's what I mean. I think Hiram
Yeah.
Bithorn Stadium's on that list. One, two. Pitches up. Bour struck out in the second. David Phelps in Miami's bullpen. Bour up the middle. Rollins is playing him perfectly. Ball was well struck, but there's one out. Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. On Japanese Heritage Day, a lot of Ichiro fans are here. Ichiro struck out back in the third. Pulls a ground ball. Gonzalez has it and gets the out.
It's been a quiet little slump for Ichiro. Ichiro just 0 for his last 13. A number of those in a pinch hitting role. But looking to get a base hit. It's been a while.
Well, you would hope that extra playing time in Stanton's absence does the trick. Here's Mathis, who's lined out. Greinke keeps putting up zeros. I'm sure a lot of guys in the dugout, when the Dodgers got a run, said, hey, there's your run. You finally got a lead. His last win was the 5th of May.
Actually, his last start, he threw a season-high 111 pitches, too, so I'm sure they're keeping a close eye on him today.
He was 5-0 at that point. That one fouled back. Started the season at 5-0, and then all the no decisions started.
I'll tell you one of the things in reading about Greinke that just jumps out at you, and it makes us all realize when he was a 21-year-old with Kansas City in 05, he was 5-17 and had an ERA of 5.80. So don't jump to conclusions too soon.
About young pitchers that are just getting started in the big leagues. He was a Royal for 7 years, a year and a half with the Milwaukee Brewers. 3rd season as a Dodger. Mathis flips that one down the right field line. Puig in flight, and he reaches out, makes the catch in foul territory. Miami in order, gone in the 5th, 1-0 Dodgers.
At Marlins Park, and they are playing and entertaining the crowd here. And this is Ben, come on over. This is the Fushu Daiko Taiko Japanese drum.
Hi, my name is Ben. We're from Fushu Daiko. Yes. We're a taiko drumming group out of Broward County. We're celebrating our 25th year in Broward County. We're super pleased to be here supporting the Marlins and their new baseball player, Ichiro.
Ichiro, how many drums are here, and what are the different
Well, we've got 12 drums today. We are in 6 drummers, and basically you've got kind of small, medium, and large size drums. We also use some metal instruments like a bell and a cannon and a handheld bell. We also blow conch shells. We use our clip sticks to make clacking noises. We use our voices a lot, and this is the typical set of percussion instruments in a taiko team.
It has its own sound. How would you describe? Everybody, when they hear that, they know that's a Japanese style.
Well, the rhythm that we just played is a very like a folk rhythm that's during their festival season. It's called the Bon Daiko rhythm, and that rhythm is very familiar to Japanese people, and so we feel it's a really nice one to play here for us.
Familiar to all of us. We hear that certain chant, that
definitely
rhythm, right?
That don karakat is right in there. It's a nice slow rhythm, and it's great for summertime.
And obviously today, Japanese Heritage Day, with all the fans here, there's probably 800 along wearing these shirts. It's a great atmosphere.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of great Japanese families and friends out here and supporters of us, so it's a real privilege to be here today, really.
Good to see you guys. You did a great job. I don't know if we have any of the clips we can show you, or maybe come back with it a little bit later, but we have a new pitcher coming in. Thanks, Ben. All right, appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Craig. And there's the new pitcher. It's David Phelps. And so Phelps takes over for Jose Urena. Yasmani Grandal with an 0-2 count. Phelps a breaking ball in the dirt. 5 innings for Urena. Dodgers getting a run on just 4 hits.
The last time we saw David Phelps was in Cincinnati in a starting role. He got bitten by the home run ball a little bit. 5 2/3 that day against the Reds.
And he strikes out Grandal.
But a guy who we have talked about over the year has filled both roles in his career. As a starter, he did that with the Yankees, pitched out of the bullpen, and he has been a terrific swing guy, and a guy like that is valuable to a ball club.
Here's Andre Ethier, Alberto Callaspo, on deck. Phelps is in the 9 spot, and he's due to lead off now in the bottom of the 6th, which means he's probably in for just an inning.
Kind of why I thought we'd see Urania go out, at least try to get through the 6th inning, because then if you make the move, you can extend Phelps a little bit, who's certainly capable of doing that because of him being a starter most of the year. Here's the decision that the ball club might have to make, Rich, when it comes down to activating Jose Fernandez. Obviously, a starter will probably have to go. So you think about Jose Urania and Justin Nicolino, a couple of 23-year-olds.
Broken bat. Gordon gets the out. Phelps looks sharp. Another reminder, Family Fun Photo Sunday is presented by H.H. Gregg. Best family photo of your family while watching Marlins baseball. Use the hashtag SundayFunday. Marlins will show the best picture on Marlins Live postgame. It's brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Lots of baseball going on. The Mets and the Reds are resuming a game.
Trying to finish that thing, and they're in extra innings.
Yeah, it's 1-1 now in the top of the 10th. And they'll play again at, well, when that one's done, about a half an hour after that. So it's a doubleheader for the Reds and the Mets.
Yankees and the Astros finishing up their series in Houston. No score there.
Count full.
Our guy Josh Donaldson is homered for the Blue Jays. They're up 3-0 against Texas.
Iaspo walks. Phelps got the first 2. Here comes Rollins.
Yeah, I feel bad about this because I enjoy it every year, but my interest is kind of waned in this year's home run derby for the All-Star game without Big G.
You just have to get your fix now on the celebrity softball game, which I know is an appointment television for you. Fox Sports supports. Proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. Go to ayso.org/play. Find your region, sign up for your fall team today. Yeah, the celebrity softball game, Hud. I know every year you're just full of information of guys who have appeared.
I have to stay up.
Stars, women.
Yeah, I have to stay up with the with People magazine.
Starlets, athletes. Gordon flips to first in time. Nice inning from David Phelps. Bottom of the 6th in Miami. 1-0 Dodgers. Miami, bottom of the 6th inning. On Wednesday, Giants Marlins at 7:10, and every child 12 and under with a ticket gets a coupon for a free KMB Frank bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets for Kids Eat Free Wednesday at Marlins.com. Giants on Tuesday and Wednesday night. And then Thursday afternoon, Cole Gillespie will pinch hit for the Marlins in the 9 spot. D. Gordon and Christian Yelich. Marlins didn't double switch, so Gillespie will hit, and then the Marlins go back to their bullpen. If the Marlins had their choice, they would double switch ZACK GREINKE out of the game. Mike Dunn in the bullpen, because GREINKE has been his usual stifling self. Gillespie gets a breaking ball and sends it foul. Puig bouncing into the wall there. Counts 1-2.
Now, would you call that a little out of control?
Actually, he slowed down, and I thought turned his body, made a nice little impact. And
made a mark on the padded wall.
That's right. The 1-2. Probably not advisable at Wrigley.
No, not at all. Those bricks come on you faster than you think.
You see that left hand bandaged heavily. The callus. He actually has the glove sitting outside off the hand. Greinke's had a lot of those today. Soft comebackers where he comes back to get it. Now, Puig crashed into the right field wall, but the game was on the line, and that was last year.
That was Jeff Baker. Wasn't it a walk-off, a big walk-off?
Yeah, that's nothing but effort right there.
Almost caught by Puig. That was a great effort.
Gillespie's out. Here's Gordon. D. Gordon is 1 for 2. Greinke has thrown that pitch, that slow breaking ball, and he's thrown it with success. There are a lot of pitchers that fall off to one side, or kind of sideways when the ball gets to the plate. Watch Greinke as he delivers a pitch, especially with a guy like Gordon. He goes from the pitch right to a defensive position almost as quickly as you can. Slashed on the left field line. ETHIER dives, and he got it. Andre ETHIER robs D. Gordon.
Well, that's do or die play, and ETHIER knows as well as anybody, if that ball gets by him, it's 3 bases for D. Gordon. But a really nice play by ETHIER, who has played all 3 outfield spots in his career. Good jump, good concentration. Yeah, when you watch Greinke in that motion that you were just talking about, it's a little Greg Maddux-like.
Now, not all pitchers can get there because
people would say, why did everybody do that?
Yeah, because each delivery is unique, and some deliveries, especially deliveries that help make that pitcher effective, carry them off balance or push them towards first or towards third, whether you're a righty or lefty. Yelich is 0 for 1. Greinke got his glove down on a hot smash back up the box in the first, and then walked him in the fourth. That's a strike. Yelich into left field, and it looks like the swing is coming back for Christian Yelich.
Yeah, that's nice too, especially because we pointed out last AB how far over Jimmy Rollins plays him up the middle. So there's a nice opening over on that left side, and Christian Yelich finds it. Beauty. Don Mattingly, a fan of Christian Yelich.
That's high praise when
you
get it from a guy like Mattingly, so accomplished as a player. Won a batting title in '84, an MVP in '85. Echeverria to right. Puig is back and there and makes the catch. And Miami's done in the 6th. Zack Greinke, 6 shutout innings with a little help from his left fielder, Andre Ethier. Now to run 3 hits. Giants, Marlins. Now, 3-game series. It starts on Tuesday and it finishes with a bang, doesn't it? 12:15 start. 11:30 for Marlins Live, by the way. And on that Thursday, Jose Fernandez at 12:10 takes on the San Francisco Giants. Take advantage of discounted matinee pricing, special Jose head giveaway, and enjoy $1 hot dogs throughout the game. Marlins.com. Secure your tickets for Jose Day. 5 rehab starts. Record and ERA. I think you look at the walks and strikeouts, feel pretty good about his command. Here is Mike Dunn.
You know, Mike Dunn will get Zack Greinke to lead things off. Then it's back to the top of the order.
What do you expect to see on Thursday from Jose Fernandez?
Yeah, I'm just trying not to get my hopes up too much, but Jose, you know, you want him to really control the adrenaline. I think he can do that to a degree, but adrenaline is part of him and what makes him such a tremendous pitcher.
And it's been building up for 13 months.
Yeah.
Echeverria. Greinke can run. Edge throws him almost out. Greinke beats it. That shows you the athleticism of Greinke. He got down the line and he got there quickly.
99% of pitchers in this league are thrown out on this play. Great effort by Echeverria, and he knew that he had to get rid of it. And wait a minute, did they get him?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, it looked like they got him.
I think they did. Good strong throw. Back of the glove looks like it's before the foot hits the bag.
I love the way Echeverria approached that. That just tells me he knows that GREINKE runs up that line quickly.
Back of glove, bang. That's well before the foot hits the bag. So he's going to be out, barring technical difficulties in New York. Umpires.
You know what's funny? The crowd reacting because they just showed it on the big screen, and the umpires were checking that out as well.
You know, that's part of it. The screens in most ballparks now are so good, high def, that the guys on the field sometimes have the same look as the guys up in New York.
Yeah, great job, and it didn't take long. And just a tremendous play by Echeverria. Not sure if the crowd is applauding the replay system or just the fact that the out was recorded.
Maybe they're giving Echeverria a little
some of that too.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah, well, they should.
Or delayed appreciation. Yeah, GREINKE. I think most runners know and we've seen in a year and a half's time a lot of the runners or fielders that believe they're right are not. They'll ask for a challenge and swear that they were safe or out, or whichever side you are, defense or offense. When it first started replay, we saw a lot of umpires act on that. Players were adamant, hey, you know, and if the replay room, you know, didn't have a real conclusive look, a lot of times the managers would go with the players, and that stopped pretty quickly when they found out that a lot of players wanted to challenge with their heart more than anything.
Well, their heart and their batting average.
That's the other dynamic of it, isn't it? A manager sticking up for his player. A swing and a miss. Dunn strikes out Peterson, who smashes his bat and breaks it and heads back to the dugout. Watch the reaction.
Probably mad at himself for chasing that good slider thrown by Mike Dunn.
And he just handed the bat up to a young lady. Now, Kendrick, it used to be that a manager would always come out, and if a player felt he was safe and was called out, manager immediately goes out to stick up for his player. Whether he thinks the player is right or wrong, a manager's got to do that. Now, the replay is part of it. If the player thinks, hey, I might have been safe, a manager will immediately start that process. But I think technology has kind of interceded in that.
Kind of taken away a little bit manager-player relationship.
Yeah. There are, too, some challenges that happen late in ball games in a runaway game, say a 9-1 game or a 10-2 game, where you're thinking, don't challenge it. But the player wants that hit. And if the manager doesn't go out and challenge, there's a beef between the player and the manager. Two balls, two strikes. Pitch misses in. Off day tomorrow. Marlins live on Tuesday. It's brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig and Niner. And it's an email Twitter Tuesday. Ryan Vogelsong, Matt Latos, your starting pitchers. Mike Dunn, 3-2 coming. Howie Kendrick, 2 more hits in this ball game, 7 total in the series. Good to see that Robinson Cano is back in Seattle's lineup. Not sure if you saw it, but Cano was in the Seattle dugout yesterday and was hit by a throw between innings that hit him right in the head. He was taken out of the game given the concussion protocol, checked out fine, and he's in the lineup today. Pitch misses away. Kendrick battles for a 2-out walk, and that'll give Adrian Gonzalez an at bat here in the 7th.
I think Bob Uecker got back in the booth right away after he was hit by an errant throw during batting practice. I tell you what, Mike Dunn still has a live fastball. You can see his athletic ability, having been drafted by the Yankees as an outfielder.
Adrian Gonzalez has just taken 2 swings from his absolute heels
on 2 95-mile-an-hour fastballs.
It's like, all right, you throw it as hard as you can. I'm going to swing as hard as I can. We'll see what happens.
So what do you do now? I don't know if I chance another fastball to Adrian Gonzalez. May try to get him to chase a slider.
He came after him again with 95.
Missed the target. You saw Jeff Mathis setting up outside.
Kendrick, the runner at first. And Mathis taking the brunt of that one.
Every time I see Mike Dunn throw the way he can, and the fact that he was drafted as an outfielder, I always remember the story about, remember the left-hander Kenny Rogers. He was a 39th round pick, and he was actually scouted as an outfielder. They saw him throwing from the outfield, and the scout said, I like this guy's arm, let's try to get him.
Gonzalez sends that one in the gap. That's trouble. Yelich after it. Bounces off the wall. Kendrick around third. On his way home, and he's gonna score. The 2-out walk to Kendrick. And then the double by Gonzalez. And the Dodgers have a big insurance run. It's 2-0.
You just can't throw too many fastballs by Adrian Gonzalez. That time he caught up to it. Did what he does so well and what he has done for a long time. 23rd double of the year. And that allowed Kendrick to come in and score from first base.
And since there were 2 outs, Kendrick had no hesitation. As soon as there was contact, he was moving. If it's less than 2 outs, he has to hesitate because the ball and Yelich were arriving right around the same time at the wall. 23 doubles to lead the National League. And now Puig is up. And Mike Dunn faces Yasiel Puig. Marlins are going to walk Puig. You've got Yasmani Grandal, a switch hitting catcher, on deck.
Grandal with not nearly as many at bats from the right side on the year. 157 ABs as a left-handed batter, but just 24 against lefties. One thing you can do, if you're Dan Jennings, you can pull out all the stops with the off day tomorrow.
So Puig walks for the third time, and here is Grandal. In July, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic. Home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Coverage starts for the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, July 14th, 7 Eastern, here on Fox. And it streams live on Fox Sports Go. A breaking ball for a strike opens the at-bat of Yasmani Grandal. Mets and Reds in that first game. Still 1-1, bottom 11. Atlanta has an early run and a lead over Pittsburgh, 1-0, top 6 in Pittsburgh. Braves are now 5 under. Nationals have a 3-2 lead over the Phils. It's now in the 7th.
Yeah, Atlanta's lost 5 straight. Washington has won 7 straight.
And the Washington Nationals and the Phillies play again after the first game. So a pair of doubleheaders involving National League East teams.
All of a sudden, it just looks like Mike Dunn is throwing and not hitting spots, trying to pitch.
Dunn last worked on Thursday, a third of an inning. Three-two popped up, out of play. Mike Dunn got the first 2 outs of the 7th. Walked Howie Kendrick. Adrian Gonzalez banged a 2-strike double to left. Yasiel Puig was intentionally walked. And he misses. And so now a decision for Dan Jennings. You've got Dunn with ETHIER due up. Although he's being called back into the dugout. Scott Van Slyke appears suddenly. Carter Capps and Sam Dyson are ready. And the Marlins will make a pitching change. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. the bags loaded and 2 outs. And he's going to face a guy that's hurt the Marlins on a number of occasions this year, Scott Van Slyke. There's Caps and his numbers. 16 appearances, but look at the ERA. Look at the strike to walk ratio. Tommy, if he had another 10 to 15 appearances, you'd be talking about all-star game.
Yeah, just incredible. And you and I have talked about it mainly since his return. He seems to be a different pitcher. The slider's been there for him. We've seen triple digits with the fastball on a consistent basis.
First pitch is strike. Scott Van Slyke hurt the Marlins in game 1. A 2-run homer gave Los Angeles a 2-1 lead. They never looked back. They won it 7-1. Of course, in Los Angeles, he had a walk-off homer. Sends that one to right. Hits it pretty well. Ichiro is back and shy of the track makes the catch. Dodgers leave them loaded. They add a run and lead it 2-0. Here's a game summary.
Hasn't been a whole lot of big action, but early on, Howie Kendrick on that fielder's choice, just beating out the double play, brings in the first Dodger run. Dodgers get their second run after a walk was issued. All of a sudden, a lot of fastballs to Adrian Gonzalez, and he hammers one over the head of Christian Yelich. Kendrick coming in to score, and like that, Dodgers have a 2-0 lead. One of the concerns, Marlins pitching today has issued 8 walks, one of those intentional, but a lot of pitches and some base runners for the Dodgers. They've been drawing the walks.
The other concern is that the Marlins haven't been able to put a dent in ZACK GREINKE. They're not alone. GREINKE has the lowest ERA in all of baseball. And he's certainly in a groove and pitching like the Cy Young Award winner, which he was early in his career as a Kansas City Royal back in 2009.
Yeah, that was a long half inning. It's been about 25 minutes since ZACK GREINKE threw his last pitch. So he's taking a few warm-up tosses, and this will probably be his last inning, so we'll see how he responds.
Dodgers will keep Scott Van Slyke right in that same spot. He pinch hit for left fielder Andre Ethier. And GREINKE goes back to work. Marcell Ozuna came into this ball game on an 0 for 15 slide with 9 strikeouts in those 15 at bats, and he had struck out in 6 consecutive at bats in the last 2 games coming into this one. He's seen 2 pitches. He's hit them both hard to right field, one for a hit and one for a single. And so Greinke says, enough of this outside part of the plate stuff. I'm crowding you. And he catches a corner. Greinke, great fielding pitcher. He's won a Gold Glove. He's made some nice plays in this ball game. He doesn't give up home runs much. Only 7. This is start number 16. As Tommy talked about early in the telecast, home runs in this ballpark for anyone not named Stanton are tough to come by. Including Marcell Ozuna, who's not homered here this year. 2-2. He strikes out.
Now, one of the interesting little things going on in this game, the Marlins 1-2-3 hitters in this series, not only in this game, but in this series. The top of the order, the 1-2-3 hitters are 12 for 31. The rest of the lineup, though, with that strikeout there for Ozuna, 5 for 51. So the top of the order doing the job, needing the rest of the order to bring some guys in.
Now Dietrich. Martin Prado. That shoulder injury.
In a quiet way, he has been missed.
Yes, he has. He's still around the club, and that's by design. Giancarlo Stanton had surgery this morning. It went well. Anderson Alvarez has started throwing bullpen sessions. That's a good sign. Dietrich, left field. And Van Slyke is there, and he makes the catch.
Had a short conversation with Henderson today. He threw a bullpen yesterday. He'll wait. He'll throw another bullpen. And then after that second bullpen, he hopes to then have some rehab starts. So he was smiling, seemed to think everything was going well. And certainly he is needed back too.
I think the growing consensus around this ball club is that the Marlins pitching, rotation, bullpen is going to be pretty good here in about a week. Everybody gets settled back in the rotation. Jose arrives. That's a fair ball off the bat of Justin Bour. Into the corner it goes. Bour around first, on to second, and he's there with a double. And Miami's first extra base hit.
The follow-up, Rich, to what you were just talking about. Now the offense needs to get healthy. Good to see Justin Bour. He hit a ball last time up the middle that he hit sharply. The unfortunate thing, Rollins was right there. So good to see Bour. Last 2 at-bats, 2 good swings. This one stays fair, and he gets the extra base hit, 2-out double.
Here's Ichiro now. Miami down a couple runs. Here at the bottom of the 7th. Ichiro 0 for 2. Outfield not real deep and left with Van Slyke or Puig in right. If it's well hit, it'll be a challenge to score Bour. You've got good arms around the outfield, and they're not real deep with Ichiro.
That double, by the way, only the 3rd extra base hit for the Marlins in this series.
30 at bats for Greinke against Ichiro. Jeff Mathis is on deck. If Ichiro reaches, I'd be surprised if Mathis hits. Jeff Baker looming in the dugout with a bat. That's 3-1. Dodgers bullpen is active. There's Baker. Japanese Heritage Day. Ichiro lines it to left. Van Slyke is there, and he makes the catch. And the Marlins leave a runner in scoring position. 2-0. Dodgers. MLB.com at bat. Many of you are following along with it right now. If you're not, you're missing. A pitch tracking widget could be yours. Live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. MLB.com at bat for your tablet, smartphone, smartwatch, whatever else you can load an app on. Well, Carter Capps will just stick around and start the 8th inning. Alberto Callaspo. Then you got Jimmy Rollins and the pitcher spot. Zach Greinke's thrown just 95 pitches in his 7 innings. That gets by a diving Dietrich, picked up by Yelich. Callaspo settles for a single.
Playing off the line, so really not much of a chance. That ball stung pretty well by Callaspo.
Now Rollins, a long look down at third base. Lorenzo Bundy, the third base coach. Nobody occupies the Dodgers on deck circle. And now Greinke wanders out there. It's the continuation of the game yesterday, but there's no end, just more continuation for the Reds and the Mets. 1-1, top 12.
That's amazing.
Nationals keep a 3-2 lead over the Phils. Bottom 7. BOUR, it kicks back to Capps, who flips to BOUR. Just your 3-1-3 put out at first.
Yeah, you see that one all the time.
Not sure if it hit his shoe or what.
You know, we saw Justin Moore make a really nice 3-6-3 double play in the first inning. He was thinking about doing the same, and the ball just kicked off what looked like his shoe, but it caromed right to Capps. Let's see where it hits. Maybe a little glove, maybe a little shoe. You know, think about that Cincinnati and Mets series. The young, talented left-hander, the Mets, Steven Matz, waiting and waiting and waiting to make his major league debut because he's starting the second game.
Probably a little nervous energy. Greinke swinging and missing.
Steven Strasburg pitching well for Washington. They have a 3-2 lead in Philadelphia in the 8th inning.
Alex Wood is pitching well for Atlanta. 2-0 Braves in Pittsburgh, bottom 7. Here, both starters came out and pitched well. Jose Urena lasted just the 5 innings, but he gave up a run. He walked 4, struck out 4. Zack Greinke has gone 7 scoreless.
Just looking at the box score of that Washington-Philadelphia game. Dan Uggla, second base today, 3 for 4. And the 2 runs the Phillies have gotten came on a Jeff Francoeur home run.
In the air, Callaspo has forgotten how many outs there are. Now he has to dash back to second, and he just gets back. As Greinke fly it out. Callaspo was running towards third, and then Lorenzo Bundy caught his attention.
There it comes. He thinks there's 2 out, and all of a sudden something clicked in. All of a sudden something, and maybe the stop sign of Bundy maybe just clicked in. Bundy shaking his head.
Well, he's fortunate that he was going from second to third and not first to second, because there's no way he would have been able to see Bundy or hear Bundy at that point.
They got Jock Peterson up there, new bat in hand.
Wow. Capps throws 100, and Peterson was seemingly a full second late on that swing.
The crowd loved that when they saw the 100 miles an hour posted. See, now if you're Carter Capps, I know he has the good slider, but part of you wants to just throw one more and have him swing real hard and sit down. See what he does. That's what makes power pitchers and power hitters so fun to watch.
And these guys fit the bill on both sides. Peterson has 19 homers. Capps 0-2. He misses away at 99. You can see Peterson working his way up the bat, choking up.
The good idea on his part.
Try to shorten the swings.
You don't see a lot of young hitters do that.
Slider, got him. Carter Capps strikes out Jock Peterson. An inning and a third scoreless for Capps. Miami still down 2-0. And Dodgers, Jeff Mathis against Zack Greinke, and there is strike one. This is a tough battle for Miami, obviously without Giancarlo Stanton, and they're facing the ERA leader in Major League Baseball. Greinke has filed away 7 scoreless innings. His ERA has melted to 1.59. Not much stress this afternoon. Greinke had a couple of base runners in the 4th. Marlins got their first extra base hit with 2 outs in the 7th. That was a Justin BOUR double. With just 4 hits in 7 innings against the 31-year-olds out of the Orlando area.
Out of Apopka High School.
He was the 6th pick overall in 2002.
He's been so good. A lot of times you look at pitchers and you see road and home splits, and there's a large disparity, but not at all for Greinke.
Mathis swings and misses.
His ERA at Dodger Stadium this year is 1.83, and his ERA coming into this game on the road 1.51. Slider gets Mathis to chase.
And as you noted, he opened his career by going 8-11 his rookie season, and 5-17 with a 5.80 Ernie his 2nd season
as a 21-year-old.
Hi. 4 years later, he would win the American League Cy Young. Jeff Baker at the plate. Not as if Greinke needs help, but he's been able to get some of it today. Baker sends a ground ball out towards Kendrick, who gets the out. So with 2 outs, it brings up D. Gordon. Marlins' next opponent, the San Francisco Giants, are home against Colorado. Giants at 41-35. The Dodgers and Don Mattingly a step ahead of them at 42-34. And that's it for Greinke. On his way out, a Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. This up, he's going to win a 2nd one. His ERA started the day at 1.70, best in baseball, and he leaves with a 1.58 ERA after 7 2/3 scoreless.
Well, you heard Josh Beckett when he was in the booth with us talk about how Greinke is the most prepared pitcher that he's ever been around. Well, when you put that with a guy that has tremendous stuff and then can execute and throw that stuff where he wants, it's a tough combination, and he has been outstanding this year.
2 outs, D. Gordon, Adam Liberatore, lefty out of the Dodger pen with a nice ERA. It's a strike. No check. D. Gordon not happy on that. And that's why he's not happy. Didn't look like a swing at all.
D. Gordon with that base hit in the first inning extended his streak to 10 games.
Little tapper, Liberatore to first in time to get Gordon. Miami down 1-2-3 in the 8th to the 9th, still 2-0. Dodgers. For the Honda dealers by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. And by Coral Springs Auto Mall, across from the Coral Square Mall. We make it easy. In Miami this afternoon. Not a walk in the park on this Sunday for the Marlins. ZACK GREINKE, 7 2/3 of shutout ball. Sam Dyson in for Miami. The Marlins themselves have pitched pretty well. When you look at Jose Urena, kind of ran out of gas. He threw 82 pitches in 5 innings, allowed just the 1 run. David Phelps, a scoreless 6th. Mike Dunn gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning, and Carter Capps was dominant in an inning and a 1/3. So just 2 runs for the Marlins staff through 8 innings. And in most parts and in most places, that'll get you a win or in position to win. Right now the Marlins are in position. Down 2-0.
Well, they just haven't had, and certainly most of that was because of the way Greinke pitched. Kenley Jansen getting ready. They haven't had that many opportunities, just 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. And over the last 11 games, boy, there's a good pitch.
96 miles an hour.
Last 11 games, Rich, 7 for 70. A 100 batting average with runners in scoring position. There's just a nasty fastball there.
Well, we said it a few innings ago. The consensus is Jose's returning. The Marlins pitching is going to be fine. And Henderson Alvarez, everyone hopes, is back right after the All-Star break. And it's going to further strengthen the bullpen because it'll probably move an arm or two from the rotation into the pen. Carter Capps has really found his stride. So has A.J. Ramos. Steve Cishek in the pen right now.
Kind of be interesting to see.
Get over there!
BOUR under his glove and into right field. Adrian Gonzalez arrives at first base.
Got that short hop. Not an easy play. And then it trickled out of the reach of D. Gordon. It'll be interesting to see, Rich, how Dan Jennings shuffles the pitching rotation after the All-Star break.
The challenge moving forward for the Marlins without Stanton, and even with Stanton, scoring runs. The Marlins weren't an offensive juggernaut with Stanton in there. They have gone, and this is, I mean, if you count this game, their last 11 games, the Marlins have scored just 21 runs, and obviously Stanton was a part of almost all of those games. 9 of the 11.
The hope also, and in looking at his numbers, he's still not quite there yet. Michael Morse on his rehab assignments. He's in AAA now, but I looked today, he has 35 at bats between the two, AA and AAA, hitting in the 220s with 15 strikeouts, and that's AA and AAA pitching. So you want to get Michael Morse back on track, and hopefully that will help the offense a little bit. Speaking of rotations after the All-Star break, Don Mattingly was saying he's probably going to separate Kershaw and Greinke instead of having them go back to back, because Bolsinger, Frias, a couple of guys who've just been going 5 innings, he knows if he has Kershaw and Greinke, he's going to get 7-8 innings, and he doesn't tax that bullpen, so he wants to kind of separate them in the rotation so that he can handle the bullpen a little easier.
The Giants rotation, when they arrive on Tuesday, actually they'll arrive in South Florida Monday, but they'll get to the ballpark Tuesday. Ryan Vogelsong, Matt Latos goes for Miami. And the Marlins will get a look at Chris Heston, the rookie who threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, how about that?
Against the Mets. That one skips by Jeff Mathis. The Giants have not announced their starter for Thursday. Jose Fernandez going.
Remember, the Giants have Matt Cain, Jake Peavy still on the disabled list.
Tim Hudson was the initial thought, but right now it's to be announced.
And the guy who was kind of on the fence there is Lincecum.
Well, Lincecum took a line drive to the forearm, and so his health is in question. 1 out, counts 2-2. The Mets and the Reds are in the 13th now.
That's amazing. Yeah, you figure, okay, we'll finish this suspended game, get it out of the way, and start game 2. And they're still playing. Matt Harvey, remember, started that game yesterday, threw 6 good innings, gave up just 1 run.
Swing and a miss by Puig. And he strikes out. Is it still Harvey Day then, if the game is resumed?
Well, I think it has to be until game 2 starts.
There's what, 3 doubleheaders in baseball?
I mean, Juris Familia throws every day, and he's thrown 2 innings.
Yeah, there's another game later today. He may have another opportunity. Grandal now. Tyson misses down low. The 2 games in the National League, or the 2 doubleheaders in the National League. The Nationals and the Phillies are 3-2 in the first game of their doubleheader. Nationals up bottom 8. As we noted, the Reds and the Mets will play a second game as well. Cleveland and Baltimore are planning to get 2 in. A day-night doubleheader at Camden Yards. 4-0 Baltimore in the 9th inning of the first game. And the count's 2-0. Marlins will see the Red Sox after the Cubs this upcoming road trip.
It's going to be a great road trip, as I have labeled it the historic trip. Wrigley and Fenway. You know, Rich, it just goes to reinforce what a great job we have. Because how many people would love to make that tour? Go to Wrigley and Fenway.
Couple day games at Wrigley. Saturday night game on Fox, Big Fox. Two and 2 to Grandal.
And then Tuesday and Wednesday night, 2 night games at Fenway.
Speaking of the Red Sox, they hit 3 homers against the Rays, and all 3 were against Chris Archer. Pablo Sandoval, David Ortiz, Alejandro De Aza. Red Sox have a 5-3 lead in the 9th against the Rays. Dyson has it. Underhand flip gets the out. And the Dodgers are done in the 9th. Miami down to their last 3 outs and down a couple runs, 2-0. Checkers will bring you Marlins live post-game. Getting ready, Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson. Breaking news, Zach Greinke is good.
Yeah,
really good.
Preston out there doing a great job this weekend with Craig, and probably would not want to face Greinke either.
Well, the Marlins get Kenley Jansen now. Jansen, the former catcher, with a big arm and a low ERA. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio. 24 strikeouts, no walks.
Well, just 15 games. He spent a little time on the disabled list this year, but 44 saves last year for Jansen.
Yelich, Echeverria, Ozuna, and there's strike 1. Jansen has allowed just 5 hits. Not this month, but this season. Hitters are 5 for 48. That's a 104 clip. He was drafted as a catcher. He was a great defensive catcher. In fact, he had a great World Baseball Classic 2009. Yelich, that's a base hit. Down the line it goes. Around first, and Christian Yelich pulls in with a double. Second hit for Yelich. Well, a 4 for 4 night last night, 2 for 3 this afternoon. Just great swings from Christian Yelich against a really tough right-hander. Fastball out over the plate away. They're playing him off the line, and he just stings it by Carrasco, the third baseman. 6th double for Yelich on a 2 for 3 day. Echeverria now 0 for 3. So just the 6th hit all year against Jansen. Echeverria, line to right his last time up. Yeah, wasn't it in that World Baseball Classic game when he was with the Netherlands? Didn't he throw out a couple of the Dominican runners in key situations? In key spots. Yeah, the Netherlands upset the Dominican twice down in Puerto Rico. And he was at that point so good. He was one of those guys like Benito Santiago. He could throw you out from his knees. Counts 0-2. He's out in front of Echeverria. You got Ozuna on deck. Yelich leadoff double. Strike 3 called. 94 miles an hour for Kenley Jansen. If you're a player, you don't want to keep thinking about what could be happening in this inning. There's just a perfect pitch. But we can show it to you with Giancarlo out of the mix for the next 3-4 weeks. Look at his rankings. And yes, he would be coming up in this situation, hitting in that number 4 spot. 27 home runs, leading the major league home runs and RBIs. Marcell Ozuna is 1 for 3. Now the good news, we've seen Ozuna with some good swings today. To an 0. Well, the Dodgers got 7 2/3 outstanding innings from Zach Greinke. Adam Liebertor got the last out of the 8th. They turn it over to their closer, Kenley Jansen. Leadoff double to Yelich. Struck out Echeverria. Good rip. Good 2-0 rip by Marcell. You can see that short arm catcher type delivery from Jansen. Short arm from a big man. Ozuna has that one clip the bat. That's a break for Jansen.
And what that means as a hitter, he stays in the mid-90s, but it appears harder because a little tougher to pick up because of that short arm delivery.
Two coming. He missed. Wow, that was close. And it's full, 3-2. And pitch number 5 was down. Clearly down. Derek Dietrich's on deck. Justin Bour would like a crack at Jansen as well. 1 out in the 9th. And Ozuna strikes out on a slider.
Well, a lot of fastballs after fastballs, and he finally went with that slider to get the strikeout. And again, it's an area that has troubled the Marlins in this series. Marlins batters have struck out 36 times in this series. But you like to have a guy up there in this situation representing the tying run that has a chance to tie it with one swing. Derek Dietrich.
Rick Honeycutt on his way out just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Dietrich certainly has the pop to ride it out.
A little quick scouting report on Dietrich.
Here's one glimmer of good news. We told you that Jansen had given up just 5 hits coming in. Yelich with a double. That's 6 hits all year. One of those hits a home run.
I like the way you're looking at things, Rich.
So it's Dietrich and it's Jansen. Yelich at second. Dietrich the tying run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And he pops him up. Grandal over, and he's there, and the Dodgers have won the ball game. Kenley Jansen saves it for ZACK GREINKE, who improves to 6-2. Los Angeles takes 2 of 3. And the Marlins set their sights on San Francisco on Tuesday night. Impressive for the Dodgers, Greinke especially. 7 2/3 of shutout ball. He struck out 6. D. Gordon, tip of the cap to his old team. The Dodgers win it 2-0. Marlins Live is next.